Welcome to the Real McCoy Show, where we bring on top industry leaders and discuss what makes them the real McCoy. Now, your host, Stephen McCoy.
Hello and welcome to today's live episode here in downtown Dallas at the Real McCoy Show. I'm Steve McCoy. I have a very special guest, Bryce Beck, who owns a insurance brokerage, and he's going to tell us all about some insider tips on how you can save money on your insurance without sacrificing coverage. Because, Bryce, am I right? Is there a big difference between coverage and saving money?
Well, thanks for having me, Steve. Yeah, there's a big difference. There's a lot of ways you can do it and structure it to where you will save money and get the right coverage that you need. And I'm here to talk about that today to help you find your way along the path.
Awesome. So, Bryce, how long have you been in the business, my friend?
I've been doing this about 15 years. I've worked with a number of different big carriers and companies. I know a lot of insider information and tips. I've got a lot of people in my network that have helped me grow along the way, between lenders and mortgage people like yourself. Yeah. They all help make me look good, and they're part of my team and value
I hope
members.
so. We'll see how this goes today, right?
Absolutely.
No, just kidding.
Absolutely.
So number one, whenever you're applying for a mortgage and you're going through that loan process, and then you went through all the underwriting as a home buyer, and here you are getting close to that finish line, and you're maybe 2 weeks out from closing. You've submitted all the docs, you got the clear to close, and here you are at the very end, and you think, I'm done. And then the mortgage guy calls you and says, hey, Bob, who are you going to have for your insurance? And you're back on the search again, and you're like, I don't know. Well, who do you recommend? So, it's important to have a referral network. And for what I understand, a lot of your business is derived from referrals, and you're not always doing live shows like this and growing your business. And so my question is, what is the best way to navigate through that process of, I need a binder in order to get my final clear to close and my docs to closing, versus, man, am I just settling for a coverage without knowing what I'm getting on my home insurance primarily?
Well, like I said, I've got a big team of lenders that do this every day like yourself. Every single day they're helping people save money and find ways to lower their mortgage costs, find a home, get into a home at a really good price like yourself. A lot of people, buying a home is a very emotional decision. You see the home you like, and you see that upgrade, and you think, well, I could spend a little bit more here and get these nice upgrades. It's all in your head. It's a very motivational thing to do. Insurance is not so much an emotional decision. It's kind of like, I got to have it, so I guess I'll just take the first policy I see, right? So a lot of the time when you get to that point of where you're at closing, you're at the table, or you're 2 weeks away, like you said, and your guy says, hey, we need to get you an insurance policy. Can I set you up with the one that I use in-house? A lot of people just think, great, set it up for me so I don't have to think about it. The reality is your home is probably going to be the most important, largest asset that you own or will own. And just like you would take care of your car that you take care of and you value and you have a lot of pride in, you should also take care of your home, and insuring it correctly is one way to do that. There's a lot of great policies out there, and there's a lot of not so great policies out there. So navigating that and finding the right agent to do that is important, not just settling for the first agent with the first policy with the lowest price. It's not always the best decision.
So can you expand on that a little bit? Because, a lot of claims have hit DFW. We've had a lot of recent storms, and I always say it's because of our neighbors up in Oklahoma. We're too close. Especially I live way up in Salina, and you live very close by in Frisco as well. So we always say, man, we got too close to Oklahoma. We're getting those tornadoes and the hailstorm. So with all that devastation, I mean, literally a couple of miles south from our studio here today is where a tornado came through and wiped out, a lot of homes in Highland Park, one of the most highly high price point areas in the Metroplex, but also, up in the suburbs in Salina and Frisco, we all, experienced the hail damage, and out came the roofers and, all these people that had to repair these homes. And then we found maybe there's some deficits in the insurance coverage that we weren't all aware of. Maybe a higher deductible because we just wanted a policy and we really didn't look into that. So is it wise to up your, deductible in order to save monthly, or maybe on the 1 year binder or policy, I should say? I don't know all the terms there, Bryce. I'm not an insurance.
No, you're fine. That's why I'm here, to talk about the wonderful world of insurance.
That's it. Wonderful.
Right up there with taxidermy. It's very exciting.
Nice.
But the reality is we live in an area where we get lots of storms, right? We're in kind of tornado alley part of it. We get a lot of hail damage. That's just life in Dallas, Texas, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people do, and it's kind of a pastime, is you're going to switch your roof out every 4 or 5 years because of all the natural disasters that come through here. So we're kind of in a spot where, yes, we get hammered and insurance rates cost a little bit more for us, and we just have to live with that. But one of the things that insurance companies started doing, or at least some of them did a couple years back, is instead of rating heavily on credit and your loss history, your claims you've had in the past, they realized that, hey, the biggest claim we're going to face probably in the next 10 years is paying for a roof, right? So if we start rating these customers' policies based upon the age and condition of their roof, we're going to, one, if we have a newer roof, we're going to lower their cost significantly. Two, we're going to bring more customers in because we're going to stand out from the crowd, right? Everyone else is doing something different. We're pivoting. We're going to do this differently and bring in more customers with a lower risk because you've got a newer roof.
Brand new.
So one thing I would suggest is when you're shopping for a carrier, look for those carriers that offer discounts for new roofs. Not a lot of them are doing it. A lot of them are old school. Some will do straight credit. If you got a mid-tier credit score, you're going to pay out the nose for insurance. So do your research. Find a way to educate yourself on what companies focus on those newer roof rates. It'll save you hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't even realize that companies rate that way.
So how would you approach the insurance provider about readjusting? Can you go like retro back? Do you get a rebate, or is it only going forward like, Mr. Insurance Provider, I have a brand new roof. Should I be getting savings, or are you going to rewrite my policy and give me a lower amount, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So one thing that everybody should know, but most people don't know, is that when you file a claim and you put a new roof on your house, that claims department is not talking to your agent to say you put a new roof on.
Wow.
They don't automatically go to your agent and say, hey, give this person a discount, save them some money because we just paid for a roof. A lot of people think they work hand in hand. They're two separate departments. So they don't talk to each other. They're not allowed to. They're split up for a reason. Wow. So every single time that you make an upgrade to your house, whether it's a roof, an AC system, copper wire, whatever you're going to do in your home to upgrade, always make sure to contact your office agent, not the claims person. They don't have your interest. They're looking to save the most money on paying you out.
That's true. Yeah.
Call your agent, let them know so that they can get on the same page and give you every discount that you deserve.
That makes sense. What about, so kind of switching gears, so in your home, anytime you do the, just kind of reiterate, anytime you do a home improvement such as a roof, there may be options on saving money. You want to contact your policy holder and see what those options are. But what about an auto? Because, I'm notorious, and shout out to my wife for always putting up with my ventures. I'm always on the hunt for the next bigger, better vehicle, whether that's a monster truck or if it's a fast car, whatever that may be. And I find myself from time to time, I'll be on there searching for a car. I'm like, man, what's this VIN number on this would-be car? And I call my provider, and I'm like, hey, can we do a synopsis on what this policy would be like? And please don't email this quote to me because I don't want to see it. And
I want to figure it out.
And
for
I don't
myself.
want to be busted on my little car shopping experience before I get this new Lamborghini and the insurance is $3,000 a month.
Right.
It's like, wait a second, I got the car, but now I need insurance, right? So with that being said, I'll shop them and I'll be like, how much is insurance on rear wheel drive? I got a Porsche about 2 years ago, and first thing I did was shop the insurance and be sure it's not through the roof. Right. So I understand what the payment's going to be, but what's the insurance? So when you're shopping for auto insurance, is there some insider tips on maybe a higher deductible and lower monthly cost, or what are the best advantages from your side of the business to save consumers money on insurance?
So yeah, good question. I mean, the answer to that is it all comes down really to finding a good agent who knows how to structure a policy in a way that benefits you.
Yeah.
You know, most of these agents, and no knock to anybody in the business, but a lot of these agents are just typing up what's available to them, not really doing research to figure out the best ways to rate things. There's a lot of different ways you can do it within the system to find ways to save money. For example, the instance of your Lamborghini, you're going to go out. Now, you've got a family. Yeah. Let's say you're a working guy. You've got a family at home. You got teenage drivers in the home. There's a way, if you put that Lamborghini on your policy with your 16-year-old driver who just started.
Disaster.
If they don't rate that properly, your rates are going to go through the roof more than they already would with a Lamborghini.
Right.
There's ways to navigate that and structure it, and a good agent will know how to find that and say, hey, let's not put the 16-year-old on the $200,000 sports car or even close to it. Let's structure it in a way where it can actually reduce costs overall to save you money. So again, it all comes down to talking to your agent, being very clear on what you're looking for and trying to do. Asking questions about best ways to structure things or rate things, additional discounts if you do certain programs. A lot of companies now have virtual discounts and online discounts that track your phone and driving habits.
I declined that.
I declined that. Yeah, I have a heavy foot.
Yeah, you don't want to see my driving habits.
Yeah,
my policy may be dropped.
My policy. I've seen you drive. You're out. I've seen you drive, so I agree with that. Yeah, I'm burning out.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about maybe bundling like boat, house, and car, and we always hear about bundle. You're going to save. Well, what is that true savings, and what does that look like without calling 15 different providers to get quotes? What would that look like just as a phone call to your office, and how would you go through that process with a prospective client, and maybe what are the biggest savings you've seen on paper?
So I get this question all the time, and I get clients that come to me and they'll say, I don't really want to bundle my home and my car together because I'm afraid if my rate goes up in my home, so will my car. But in reality, that's not how it works. They're two separate policies. One does not affect the other. If your home goes up, which it will, insurance goes up every single year. It's just a fact of life. That doesn't necessarily have an impact on your car. Now, they might go up together, but they're not codependent on each other. Just because your home or car went up, it doesn't affect the other. So, find ways. Bundling is always what I would recommend doing. It's going to save you, in some cases, 40% off your total of what you spend annually.
There we go. Now we're talking.
If you had a 2,000, 40% is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's part of your Lamborghini payment.
Part of the payment. You read my mind.
That's right. I'm thinking ahead. I want that Lamborghini now. So find ways to do that. But let's say you've got a $2,000
dealership after this.
Hey, let's go right now. What are we waiting for?
Yeah. Let's hit it.
Let's say you got a $2,000 home policy, and you say, hey, what if I bundle my cars? Well, there's an extra, $300, $400 off that total for a year. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Most people have to escrow through their mortgage payment, so that lowers the cost of your mortgage payment when you do things like that.
Right.
Always bundle. Yeah. Always look at ways to bundle. And if it doesn't make sense on the car, if it's a little bit more on the car, sometimes it's still worth it to bundle because of the savings you get on the home.
On the house. Yeah.
So look at insurance as an overall cost, not just split up individually.
That makes sense. So before we talked about you've been in the business 15 years, and so were you actually doing policies under another brokerage in the very beginning? I know I started in new home sales, for example, and from new home sales went on to being residential resale, and from that I've been on this 15-year run of from Remax, and it's been a great ride, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, and for what I understand, you built up quite a team, and you have your own brokerage now, and that has to be exciting, right? So it's got its pros and cons.
It's a lot of work, for sure. It's definitely a lot of work, but no, we got a great team. We've got a couple offices, one in Arlington. We've got one in Frisco, Prosper area. I've worked with a number of different carriers, State Farm and Nationwide and Allstate, a couple different major captive carriers in the area. So I've seen a lot of the ways that companies do things. Some are very old school and don't like to change. Others are more progressive, where they find ways to help the customer out, and that's the kind of company that I like to work for. Is someone who's always thinking outside the box of how they can help people save money, not just how they can hoard money for themselves.
That's true. That's true.
So we've got a great team, like I said, and our office does a great job of finding ways every single time to talk to each individual customer, find ways to help them with their specific need, and get them either whether it's saving money or getting the best coverage. We're going to do that for you.
Right. And so I know, insurance is not always the most
sexy.
Yeah, most sexy. You said it. So not the most attractive topic, but we all have to have it. And there's people. I remember growing up, I had a 70 model C10 Chevy truck. So liability coverage was enough, right? But now, anytime you have something that has a loan on it, you want to be sure it has full coverage. And what about? So a lot of times when I'm shopping those would-be purchases, they'll ask me, how many miles a year do I drive, and I always kind of skew those numbers a little bit because I don't want to tell them I drive 25 to 30,000 miles a year. Right. I say, it's a point A to point B travel. I don't say where that point A and point B is.
Right.
It could be different for everybody.
Yeah.
So is there maybe some trade-offs on telling the insurance provider, hey, my office I work from home, or my office is 30 minutes away and I'm in this crazy, and if you don't see it, I hope you're paying attention, that's a live shot from 635. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, people are getting back to the workplace, they're getting back to life over here, and we better get out of here before 3 o'clock because it's in Dallas, and 635, the tollway is right over my right shoulder here. And if you've ever been in Dallas traffic, you know what I'm talking about. At 3 o'clock on a Friday, man, it gets crazy. But back in the COVID, man, it was like just a huge highway. You could do 100. I mean, insurance 70. I only go 70.
Yeah. Insurance guys,
driving.
Careful what you say.
That's the max speed. Yeah.
Right.
So is there a way to go and tell the provider, look, my car it has an alarm system, right? My house has an alarm system. You mentioned. You can do some savings by having an alarm on your home, as well as on your vehicle. Maybe it's garage versus being outside, exposed to hail.
Right.
The mileage. Maybe the mileage. Is there an advantage that I haven't asked about that maybe could benefit some people? More so on the alarm and mileage topic.
Oh, absolutely. It's always smart to disclose information like that. Now, insurance companies aren't stupid. They know, what you're actually doing. Yeah. They're not going to go in there and say, you stay home all day, and it's not, even during non-COVID times, they're not going to say, you never leave your house.
Right.
But there are ways, you can tell them, I only go 3,000 miles a year. I go back and forth to my office 1 mile away.
Right.
It happens, and there's definitely ways to reduce your costs that way. There's other behavioral discounts, like how you pay. Having your payment auto-drafted a month, or going on paperless billing. A lot of times companies are trying to get away from paper. Yeah. That's a huge cost for an insurance company to constantly be sending out rolls and rolls of paper.
That makes sense.
So if you just say, sign me up for paperless billing, some companies are offering up to 18% discounts on car policies just for doing that.
Man, that's huge.
And they're getting the word out slowly, but if you don't know about that, that's something to think about. Am I on paperless? Because that's a huge cost savings to the company, which most will in turn distribute to the customer.
Yeah.
So finding ways to do that, that's important. Alarms are great, especially on homes. Monitored alarms will save you another 15% off usually in some cases. Yeah. Every company has their different ranges, but you're going to protect your home anyway with an alarm, hopefully. Why not get a discount for you? Let your company know, in other words, everything you're doing at all times. You're not only protecting your investment, but you're helping protect your costs and your interest in the policy, instead of letting the company protect their interest by charging you more for things that they aren't asking you about necessarily.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great takeaway. So what about on the garage? Does that make a difference if my vehicle is exposed versus being in a garage and being safe? Or
in some cases it might, if you've got a higher end car like that Lamborghini, or you've got a
I'm gonna keep it on the front porch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it up on a ramp.
Yeah,
check this thing
out. I'm not gonna drive that thing ever.
It's just more like yard art.
I got a picture of one.
I never drive it. I just wanted to look at it.
Right, I got a poster of one.
Yeah.
I saved $199,000 on mine just by getting a picture of it.
That's a good idea. Get a picture. I know you hear Leanna right now. She's on Amazon. Big life-size poster. We got that checkbox done.
You'll save a lot of arguments that way, man. I promise you. Don't bring that poster home instead of the car. But no, again, going back to the garage, vehicles like RVs and trailers, those are the kinds where you really save that, because you don't think about it. You've got those toys or the ATVs. Biggest threat to those is not crashing to somebody on the highway. It's hail damage and weather. Yeah. So leaving those outside versus in a protected area like a storage facility or a garage, there's additional savings for those because you're mitigating your risk as well by protecting your investment. Company rewards you. So
Well, great, man. Well, that's a lot of information that we took away. Hopefully you took some notes today. And if you didn't, then hey, push replay and watch it again, and go back and get on the phone, pick up the phone, call your provider, see what you can do to save you some money. Ultimately, every week, my goal here at the Real McCoy Show is to bring in industry-leading experts and to find out some insider tips on how to save our audience money, and spread the word. Share our live episode today. Give us some likes, give us some love, comments down below, and as things start to open back up, we'll start doing fun stuff like giveaways to hopefully the Mavs tickets, some Cowboy tickets, and different fun stuff. But right now, hey, I can give you all the tickets you want, but really no place to go to use them. So until next time, my guest Bryce, we're saying peace out. We'll see you next episode. Next Friday at noon. Let's do it.
Stay classy, Dallas.
Let's do it.
Thanks for watching today's episode. Check out the links in the description to get more detail on our guest today and all things North Texas real estate.